G'day everyone, welcome back to the Toon podcast, the Southern Hemisphere's biggest and best podcast, all things Newcastle United. I'm joined tonight by Craig. Craig, I'm not sure we're ever going to lose another game. I'll probably regret this Wednesday morning, but at the moment it looks like we're not going to lose a game. A 3-1 victory over Bromley in the FA Cup third round overnight, which was, I believe, Eddie Howe's first FA Cup victory at home, which seems crazy to think about, but yeah, it's true. Google it. Craig, how are you? How did you see the game, mate?
I'm absolutely shocked, to be honest. Didn't really get any sleep before the game.
Yeah.
Normally I try and get an hour or two, especially with these 1 o'clock kickoffs.
Yeah.
But got a nap before it. Watched the whole entire game live. Finished probably around 3 o'clock in the morning for me. Didn't get to sleep until probably after 4. And then up at 7 for work. So I'm running about maybe 3.5 hours kip. So yeah. I am a bit knackered, to be honest, but it was worth it. It's always worth it when the Toon pick up the next win.
Absolutely no good, mate. And unless it's really, really big, I'm not getting up on a school night to do that. So it was a 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. kickoff for us here in Victoria and Sydney, 1 o'clock for you guys in Queensland. So yeah, Sunday night, Monday mornings, 2 a.m.s aren't crash light, especially when Bromley's coming to town. But thankfully for us, that Optus Sport here in Australia has picked up all the FA Cup games, so you can stream them the same as what you can for all the Premier League games and stuff like that. So I watched this in a two-parter, Craig. I was 45 minutes when I got up this morning, and I watched the other 45 minutes when I got home. So it's always hard with games like this, isn't it? Like, given the level of the opposition and stuff like that. I love them. I reckon it's great that these competitions have the ability for these fixtures. And like we had Bromley, Spurs went to Tranmere as well, which was awesome for all the. Oh no, was it Tranmere? Yeah, Tamworth. That's it. I can't think Tranmere. I don't know what, but yeah, just these guys who are part time, work full time during the day, and then come together and play. For them to host a side like Tottenham is absolutely huge. And part of me is really sad that they've taken the replay stuff out of it. I mean, can you imagine how good it would have been for them to go to Spurs Stadium and play? I'm not sure in terms of money how much they get from an away game, but just the whole thing of it would have been awesome. And I would have said exactly the same thing if we had drawn this game today. The fact that Bromley get to host a big Premier League team like us, like this could set their club up for years and years and years. I'm sure that probably would have happened too when Spurs come to town. But what did you think? Did you have any thoughts? It was just glad to get it out of the way. Let's move on to the proper stuff now.
No, well, it was a good game, actually, to be honest. There was a lot more.
It was a good game, yeah. They played a lot better than what they're... Yeah, I think they played a lot better than what they're sort of where they are in the football pyramid suggested.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is, when teams like that come to Premier League grounds or whatever, they've got to play with no fear. Because if they just play with the backs to the wall, they're going to get absolutely hout. You look at what happened to Gary Neville's team. They got destroyed 8-0. But again...
I think they were happy with that.
They're going there with no confidence. I mean, they're not going to progress much further in the competition, so might as well go out there, give the fans something to cheer. In 8 minutes in, they're absolutely done that. They were totally off script and went 1-0 up. But yeah, it was a cracking day for them, even better day for us because we're through to the next round.
It was a bit twitchy after 8 minutes, so I didn't know the score when I started watching this morning. I'd obviously got on social media in my lunch break at work and seen the scores, so I knew what had happened. But it wasn't it's not what I expected to happen after about 8 minutes, mate, to be honest. And it was a cracking finish too.
It was a very, very good finish. Nice clean strike. It was probably, as the game was going on, they probably actually deserved the opening goal. Because they had another chance shortly afterwards. The defending and the build-up to the goal from, I think it was Longstaff and Miley, probably a little bit soft, but those got a bit lucky with the bounce-out deflection from set tackle, but take nothing away from the strike. Quality finish. Could Dubravka have done better? I don't think he could have, to be honest. It was just a well-placed, well-execution shot. Yeah. If Isak had done that, we'd be singing his praises all week long.
We just go, there's another one. There's another one for the collection.
But now it was a cracking shot, and they actually deserve the lead, so fair play to them, you know?
Yeah, and this is the thing, like, there's every chance that these players are probably never going to get an opportunity like this again in their lives. Mm-hmm. And this is their grand final. Whatever happened, it was going to be one of the best days of their lives. And they come in, and it always happens in these fixtures is teams like that just come out all guns blazing. Like they would have had a nice little rev up just before they ran out, just to bring them right to the edge and breathing fire and stuff like that. And that's what happens. You've got to kind of weather that early storm and try and let the game take its natural course. But you just got to ride that first it's probably the first 10 or 15 minutes. Like most teams, they play above themselves in that time. And then they kind of run out of puff a little bit quicker than what they normally do because the pace is a lot quicker and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, the plan would be to try and ride out the first 15 and let's try and put our sort of stamp on the game, which didn't quite work after they took the lead after 8. And like you said, mate, it was a deserved lead. I don't think it came against the run of play or anything like that. So you mentioned Miley and Longstaff then, so there was a whole raft of changes from the Arsenal game last week. Dubravka and Joel Linton were the only two players from that 11 that kept their place.
Yeah.
Both surprisingly, I would have thought, everyone probably thought after the Arsenal game that Martin Dubravka had played his last game for the club, given the scenes post-game with the away end looked like he was pretty emotional, pretty teary, and kind of intimated that was going to be his last game for the club. And I think we'd all kind of come to peace with that. Started off like a house on fire, finished like a house on fire. Great bookends for a pretty good career for what he'd done for us. Wasn't quite the case. He played the next game, which didn't. We might get onto that a little bit later. Eddie post-game did say that Joel Linton and Bruno were planned, so one was going to play 45 and they were going to sub after halftime, which I'm not surprised Joel Linton played the first 45, given, as we just spoke about, the other team was going to come out all guns blazing and sort of really throw everything out. It's good to have the enforcer on the ground from the get-go just to make sure everyone keeps in line and stuff like that. I know you're excited to see Lewis Miley, mate. We won't hold you back any further. You did actually say pre-game he was going to score.
Yeah.
And how right you were.
And what a goal it was as well.
It was an absolute humdinger.
You know the best part of it as well, it actually that goal came from a Lewis Miley through ball to Osula, who unfortunately he's controlled, just let him down. And what a through ball that was as well, to be honest. It was a pinpoint pass. I think Osula should have went first time through the keeper's legs, rather trying to round him. But cracking ball through. We retained possession. Ball's played out to the left-hand side. And I think it's Harvey Bonds who just plays a square pass to them. There's a little shout from the crowd saying, shoot. Does exactly that, and it pings one right across the keeper into the top right-hand corner. And we had our little discussion in our own private chat about the definition of what a thunder bastard is. Would you define that as a thunder bastard?
I think so. I think there was enough power and velocity on that to classify.
Yeah, but it's a cracking shot. And for an 18-year-old in the game, we waxed lyrical about how mature he is for his age. And somebody put on Twitter that Lewis Miley, the only 18-year-old that plays like a 35-year-old. And somebody thought that was being a bit derogatory because 35-year-olds tend to be slow, sluggish, and not know what they're doing. But he's all about his maturity. And he is head and shoulders probably one of the best teenage prospects in the Premier League, if not Europe. And yes, I am blowing Miley's trumpet right now. I think the lad is absolutely fantastic. I said on a podcast, maybe 18 months ago, possibly longer, with the Andy Sixsmith, when he was just emerging, coming through training with the first team, whatever. I did say that this kid could be the best prospect from the academy since Beardsley or Gaza. And I still stand by that. This kid is going to be an absolute sensation. And providing we don't have to sell him for PSR rules, because if we do, I will go on a one-man riot for that, because we need to keep this kid at the club. This kid is absolutely sensational. He was head and shoulders the best midfielder, the best player on that pitch for the full 90 minutes.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
He deserved his man of the match award, and he got mine as well. And he probably got loads of others. But yeah, that kid is going places. He needs more game time. And as far as I'm concerned, he pushes in front of the queue now for Sean Longstaff, who didn't have his best game. He was very lackluster in terms of his possession and what he'd done with it. But I'll let Longstaff have a poor game because he's had so many good ones for us. He can have that one. But yeah, Lewis Miley, what a player, what a talent. And best of all, he's ours. And he's a local lad, which makes it all that little bit better again.
Yeah, good. All right. So I'm glad you mentioned Sean Longstaff too. So like I said, I 100% agree with you. I thought he was man of the match, deserved man of the match, cracking goal, stuff like that. The thing for him is, though, he's stuck in behind probably the best midfield three in the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure what type of, I guess, player or position he comes in and who he replaces and things like that. And I can't see him being in front of Longstaff if we're 2-1 up.
Mm-hmm.
I think Longstaff offers better protection, maybe a bit more game awareness and things like that, slow the game down, help us try and see out a result. If it's probably more than 2, I think you need to let him on and let him just play that centre midfield role, whether it might be for a Bruno, something like that, a bit more like, because Bruno's playing a bit more advanced now, so that probably suits Miley a little bit more than the deeper lying role and things like that. So where is he in our midfield pecking order? Is he 5th at the moment, or is he wouldn't be ahead of Willock, I wouldn't have thought?
No.
If everyone's fit?
If everyone's fit, which I'm glad you mentioned that one, because Willock's fitness now is starting to get a big concern. But yeah, on a level playing field with they're all fit, I would probably say, honestly, Miley and Longstaff are equal, with Willock just ahead. But again, it all depends on the balance of players you mentioned before. If we are hanging on a game, Longstaff is probably better choice. But if we are chasing the game and we need to have an impact player, then you're probably going to be looking to Willock, because his running on the ball is something that not many other players have at the club. But Miley has that ability to pick up that pass, as we've seen numerous times, to get that assist and to split defenses, split midfields open. So depending on the balance of the game, I'm going to say Willock is probably number 1 in terms of choice coming on, and then Miley and Longstaff equal.
Depending on the game. So I think he's in a really shitty spot at the moment, because given our form and the dominance of them 3 midfielders and Eddie's reluctance to change, and especially in game 2, and there's games where we haven't really been sort of safe until maybe 10 minutes ago. Like even the Spurs game, like we were never safe that whole game.
Yeah.
They just kept coming and coming and coming. And it's just he's in that shitty spot where he should be playing, but he's just got too many people in front of him to play. And then he's probably A, too good to go out on loan.
Yeah.
And B, what if someone gets injured, then like he probably would have played. Like he's just, and this is a really stupid thing to say for a kid who's 18 years old. He's got his whole career ahead of him, but he's kind of in no man's land at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, he's it's a sticky predicament for him, because like you say, you don't put him out on loan, because where's he going to go to the Championship? Because to be honest, I think he's probably too good for the Championship. And then do you send him out to a Premier League club, which you send him to a lower league club, the lower end of the division? Is that just going to destroy his confidence because he's not playing a team that's winning, playing with a team that creates? And that's the type of team Miley needs around him, as far as I'm concerned. I would much rather be a bench warmer and have a few cameos and stay in the squad where he can build his performances from cameos, as just mentioned, but also stick around with the camaraderie, get to know his teammates a little bit better, get to know how they play. Because apparently, according to Eddie, he's very, very intelligent in how he just sits back and watches the game during training sessions. You'll always stay back a little bit and just watch how other players interact with each other on and off the ball. And he's very intelligent at reading that. So getting that aspect of the game, a bit more from these players around him. And this time next year, who knows what's going to happen with Bruno in the summer, happen with Tonali in the summer, even Joe Linton, players come and go. But I think Miley will be here next season. Friggin' better be anyway. So it could be his time to shine when one of those players will inevitably move on, but hopefully that's not for the foreseeable future yet.
Yeah, because like when you mentioned PSR before, I just don't think he'd command enough money for us to get him out of trouble or get us out of trouble. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't think he'd get your 35 million that Elliot Anderson did, and that's a great example of. We thought he was okay. Well, we thought he was a good player and there was something there, but same thing, just couldn't get a run in behind the kind of established midfielders. And then the one chance that he did, it hurt his back and was out for months. Like he could have been playing Lewis Miley's role. And that's kind of the whole reason how he got his opportunity last year was due to all the injuries and stuff. And now he's gone to Nottingham Forest. We had Jamie Martin on, our Nottingham Forest correspondent, if you want to call him that. And he couldn't sing his praises enough of how good a player he is and how good a player he has been. And I think we all thought that, but he just couldn't get a look in behind our star 3 and 4 with Willock, really, which is, yeah. And he's young enough. He's a couple of years older than what Miley is, but it's just I just don't want to see his development or growth stunted by staying and not playing. Yeah, he's just, like I said, it's in a shit sandwich. And I don't think anything that happens is probably going to be bad. Like, it's just how the level of bad do you want to go, like, which is good. And look, we've got a player now, like you said, Craig, who knows what's going to happen in the summer? Like, will a Joe Willock move on? And all of a sudden, mate, you're next off the bench. You're intelligent. He'd be another 6 months. He'd be a bigger body. I'm sure he's put a bit of weight on in that time off with his back injury to strengthen him up and stuff like that. Not that he really needed it. He definitely didn't look sort of light last year when he played. He looked entirely comfortable at the level. And I have heard many, many managers say that it's not the technical side of things that they worry about with young players like him. It's the physicality and all that sort of stuff and that sort of the game. And if they can handle that, then they'll be fine, because they'll be technical enough and they'll figure out the decision-making and all that. But you can't sort of speed up the strength and the physicality. You've got it or you don't. So the fact that he had it was great. He said he could pick a pass and stuff like that. So it's going to be a very interesting next probably 12 months, really, to see how our midfield kind of play out and then where does he fit into it. And ideally, hopefully in 12 months' time, he's first cab off the rank when it's coming off the bench.
Agreed. Aye.
All right, moving on. What else was good? Oh, William Osula. All we wanted for him to do was score as well.
What a goal.
If we could sort of paint a picture at the start of the game, would first of all get through. We'd love to see Miley get on and play well and score. We did. We'd love to see Osula start, which I think we did. Eddie said in his press conference that Isaac was nursing a couple of niggles, which was code was he's not playing. I'm not risking him against these guys. Which by default, Osula was going to start. And I think we all thought and all hoped that he was going to get his first goal, which he did. The other thing was get out of it injury-free, which I'm not sure we have with Harvey Barnes going off at halftime. Hopefully that's not too much of an issue, that he can still take his place in the squad against Wolves on Thursday morning, I think.
Thursday morning, no.
Our time, yeah. Osula, how did you find his game? What did you think of him?
He grew into the game more when Bruno and Gordon came on. I thought the first half he was quiet, apart from that one opportunity from, again, that Miley through ball. I think that was his one glorious opportunity to break his duck. But he was throwing his weight around in that second half, and he's got a fair bit of weight on him. He's a big lad.
He's a big boy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's huge, But he took that goal ridiculously well. You wouldn't think he was a player that had been starved of game time or lack of goals or anything, given the way you rifled that into the roof of the net. Nice little step over, beat his man, and then whacked it. Now wasn't outside the box, so I don't think you can define this one as a thunder bastard.
No, I think
he had the power behind it.
There's clear parameters. I think that there is no thunder bastardry inside the 18-yard box. For it to be a contender, it has to be outside the box. I think that's I think that, not sure if they're the official guidelines, but they're our official rules. I'll have to watch this again. Like I've only just watched it. I reckon if you listen, I think Bruno yells shoot.
Right, okay.
Just before he pulls the trigger. And like I said, I've only watched this once, so I might try and find it again after we've recorded. But I reckon there's a little shoot, like a little Brazilian shoot, because he's right. Bruno's kind of on the edge of the area, I reckon. Thinking, is he going to square it? I'm pretty sure Osula had no intention of scoring that ball at all. I think he really wanted to get off the mark, and fair play to him, I would be too. But yeah, I'll have to rewatch it. I just reckon there was a little Brazilian shoot, because it seems like him and Bruno and Joel Linton have formed a bit of a bromance, if you want to call it that. So I think he was pretty keen on getting him his first goal as well. And it was great to see everyone come over to him after he scored, like the subs that were warming up with Dan Burton and all that. He seems to be a pretty popular member of the squad already. So it's good to see them getting around him and him to get the monkey off the back. And hopefully, yeah, he's probably a little bit behind Lewis Miley in terms of development and stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully if game situation arises, I'd love to see him get a few more minutes and get a bit more experience and stuff like that, and try and fast track him. I know Eddie's very big on you got to earn your minutes, as Lewis Hall found out last year. But yeah, hopefully that he can get that experience and continue to develop the way he is, because yeah, touch wood, we hope our big dog, best striker in the world, doesn't get injured. But if he does, we can hopefully rely on him a little bit. So yeah, through to the fourth round, I think the draw took place. I'm not sure after what game last night.
The Man United Arsenal game.
Which was shocking to see Lego head out of the competition, and I'm not sure what excuse he blamed this time, if the balls weren't inflated properly or he didn't recognise his team because they weren't wearing red. I'm not sure what excuse he came up with, but we've drawn Birmingham away in the fourth round. Craig, what do you think of that?
Definitely one of the better draws. Yes, it's an away game. Would have preferred another home game, but some of the teams you could have been drawn, definitely better than what it could have. For example, I think Spurs and Villa, they got drawn against each other.
Yeah, so I did read on Twitter that there'll be four Premier League teams that'll be out in the next round.
Right, okay, right.
So obviously there must have been four. I haven't looked at the draw. I only care about who we play, really. So there's obviously been four all Premier League ties, which is great if we can get through Birmingham as well and
yeah,
keep progressing and stuff like that.
Certainly no by means going to be an easy game. It's the FA Cup. It's called the Cup of Magic, that sort of stuff. And giant killing does happen, albeit nowhere near as much as it used to. But we've got to go there with the same level and attitude as we have done for every game for the past 2-3 months or so. And just go out and just show them enough respect, but go out there and absolutely stamp our authority on the game. St Andrews always has a decent atmosphere from where I remember the time in when they've been in the Premier League. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Can't remember what date the tie is and what it falls in.
No, I couldn't find that either. I tried looking before and couldn't find it. It's normally like the weekend of blah, 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 blah. Maybe they haven't sorted that out. Fixtures and stuff like that. Doesn't matter for us because they're on opposites now. So we don't have to know which ones are.
But yeah, it'll be a good game. And as you mentioned, potentially 4 Premier League teams going out in the next round can only make it easier because I don't know if you realise this, but the domestic treble is still on. You know,
Yes,
you might
I
want
do.
to stick a few dollars on that one.
I deliberately didn't want to talk about it, but now that you have, then you've completely jinxed that. I just want to get through Arsenal in February, and then we'll go from there. But before Arsenal, before all that, we've got Wolves Wednesday night, Thursday morning, our time. I think it's 6. I think it's early for me. It might be 6:30 or 6:10 or something like that. Yeah. So, unfortunately for us, Cunha is back for Wolves, which is upsetting. He's had an absolutely cracking season so far. Kind of come from nowhere, really. So
yeah,
they're one to watch. I think their form has improved a little bit lately compared to what it was at the start of the season, but we're at home and we have got a nice, I wouldn't say a good January, but it's definitely better than what on paper than what December was with
definitely. Yeah.
Wolves at home and Bournemouth at home, and Bournemouth have proved this year that they're actually a pretty good team. They gave us all sorts of fits when we played at their joint earlier in the season. Semenyo looked like he was a world beater and looks like he's still a good player. I think after that, we might have Southampton away, who will be absolutely fighting for their lives and gave us a bloody good game in the first week. I'm pretty sure we played them in the first game of the season. Yeah. And then Fulham at home. So, look, it's a lot better than Villa, Spurs away, Man United away, but it's still very tricky. But if we can continue our good form and continue to get positive results through these games, and I said before that little Villa, Spurs, Man United, these 3 could really set our season up. And thankfully we won all them, which was awesome. These 3 could actually really catapult our season and set us up for that top 4 position that we look like we're looking for at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the biggest problems we've had over, say, the past 2.5 seasons is beating those teams that are below us in the table. And, you know, there was a story coming out that the big players only turn up for the big games and stuff. That's now been put to bed because we've absolutely hammered the likes of Ipswich and Leicester and so on.
Yeah.
So hopefully those players turn up on the day for Wolves on Thursday morning. Because if they do, I don't think Wolves will have an answer. Because as you mentioned, that midfield is probably the most in-tune one in the Premier League right now, if not definitely up there with. But Isak will be back, hopefully. He's had a nice, well-earned rest. Bruno had a little cameo of 45 minutes, same with Joe Linton. Tonali got a 15-minute run out or something again.
Yeah.
So, and Botman should be back, and he's getting better with every minute he's on the pitch as well. So, we should be able to put out the strongest 11 we have been able to do for quite some time in terms of overall fitness as well.
Yeah, so Dan Burn didn't play, which was probably good for him. He's been colossal this year and a much-needed break. Fabi Schär's come back from 2 weeks off, so he'll be good for it. Bruno didn't play in that Arsenal game either, so it was good for him to get 45 minutes. Hopefully this little mini refreshment has done the players a world of good, and we're ready to sort of start cracking into these blokes and get more points on the board. Some of the teams around us have got trickier fixtures on paper. I look at Forest. Forest have got a real tough little January, early February too. So hopefully we can continue winning, continue our momentum and things like that and catch Forest and then hopefully overtake them as well. But at the same time, kind of put space between us and maybe like an Aston Villa, Man United. I'm not sure if they've turned the corner. They might have turned a corner. I'm not sure how big that corner is. You know, they've drawn it up. Technically they've drawn at Arsenal and drawn with Liverpool as well, which are no sort of mugs. So maybe things are starting to turn a little bit for them. So the more points we can put between them and sort of our rivals for these European places, the better off we can be. And just keep looking up, mate, because, I don't think we're at the point now where we need to work out behind us. I think let's just keep chasing that bunny that's in front of us.
Absolutely.
You got anything else, mate, you want to bring up?
Just a quick update on the transfer window. There is no update. So we're not going to fill you full of shit and waffle on about players who've been linked because we don't do that. But yeah, if there is any breaking news on the transfer window that is genuine, we will obviously cover that. But yeah, breaking news, there isn't any, so we're not going to waffle on and waste your time. It's a bit of a strange one, as you mentioned, on Dubravka, because his reaction, the fans' reaction, even the players' reaction for the way they let him celebrate at the end as well.
Like they knew? Yeah.
Yeah, as if to say that he's gone, then all of a sudden he's not. But whatever the reason is behind it, and if he does stay and he signs a new deal, happy days. If he does go, hopefully there's a fee, because the reason why the deal got pulled was because there was no fee involved, and it just didn't make sense for PSR, especially with Nick Pope still being out.
So what would you do? I'm taking that you're happy for him to stay.
Yeah,
at least till the end of the season and stuff like that. What about if Nick Pope was back in goal Thursday morning against Wolves? Would that change your opinion of letting him go then or not?
He is targeted to be back towards the back end of the window. Whether that will change our opinion on Dubravka before the window closes, who knows? If Pope is back fit and he's back playing well, because to be honest, his form was a bit iffy before he got injured. Whether it's because of the injury he was carrying affected his form, we'll not really know. But Pope is the better keeper of the two. Dubravka is a solid second place. Vlachodimos, I don't think he's got a snowball's chance in hell of making a Premier League squad unless they both come down with diphtheria or something like that. But we got a solid set of keepers there in a 1 and 2, and probably one of the best setups in the league. Kind of reminds me of Shea Gibbon and Stevie Harper, how they two used to battle it out. They were probably the two best.
Xhaka and Pavel too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've always had solid keepers to a certain degree. But if he does go, he'll get our blessing. If he stays, I'm more than happy for him to do so. See out the season. And if he leaves on a free, then again, he'll get my blessing on that one.
So depending on where we are at the end of the season and stuff like that, I think you may as well just keep him for cover. You're not, apart from wages, which if they don't have any intention of doing business this January, then what's the point in shifting a player if you're not going to actually capitalise on it anyway? So they might just keep their powder dry. But so we spoke about this before the start of last season with the homegrown players in the European squads and things like that. And that's part of the reason why Paul Dummett was kept and part of the reason why he wasn't renewed this year, because we didn't have Europe and there was no real need for him in the squad. Did Fraser Forster come through the academy?
He did. Fraser Forster and Tim Krul as well.
So I'm not sure what Tim Krul's doing these days, but could Fraser Forster potentially be? So I think we'll sell Vlachodimos in the summer, and he served his purpose for a PSR juggle. But do you think if we are fortunate enough to make Europe, that we might try and get someone like a Fraser Forster in to fill that homegrown quota?
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely could. Fraser Forster, let's say Tim Krul could even still do it. He's still at Luton now, I think. I don't think he's first choice, but he's still at Luton, from what I remember. They could come in third choice keeper. Mark Gillespie, I think he got released before he got to academy level. Or before he
I think he did too.
Terms, so I don't think he would count. Yeah. But we definitely need to bolster up that European squad for the homegrown talent. But one or two of those would absolutely fit the bill. I'd probably lean more towards Krul than Forster, purely from what Forster's done lately with Spurs. He's been leaking like a colander. But
they all have that. They've had all their defenders have been injured, so he's kind of on a hide into nothing. But like we're not picking him to play. He's just
that's true. Yeah,
he's basically in the Vlachodimos position where, look, if all hell breaks loose and we need someone, we know you're kind of good enough, but he also fills that homegrown sort of number as well. So that's something we potentially look at. I've got no doubt they're eyeing off probably James Trafford again in the summer if and when Dubravka leaves. I did see some things about extending his contract, which is absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason why he should be signing a new contract with us next year. If he is going to Saudi, then let him go. Let him make a bit of cash before he hangs him up. Thank him for everything. But, just you can't be extending these guys' contracts. It's Mike Ashley all over again. So Keep an eye on that. Yeah, we'll see what happens at the end of January. But like you said, mate, the update is there is no update. No one knows what's going on. And if I was to pass on any advice for everyone, it would be just to assume that nothing is going to happen, and don't get yourself worked up when nothing does happen, because, yeah, at the moment, we're not sure of our financial situation, but at the same time, I don't think we're screaming out for reinforcements and squad upgrades and stuff like that. So just go with the flow, mate, would be my advice.
Agreed. Couldn't agree more.
All right. We'll wrap this bad boy up, mate. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks, everyone, for watching and listening. We'll be back Thursday night for a Wolves review, and hopefully we can get another 3 points and we can all sing E-I-E-I-E-I-O, Craig.
Up the Premier League we go.
Thanks, mate. We'll see you all next time.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.